Walk into an electronics aisle and the printer can look almost absurdly cheap. It scans, it copies, it connects to Wi-Fi. Sometimes the box costs less than a dinner for two. Then weeks later, one warning appears: low ink. Suddenly, a small plastic cartridge feels expensive enough to make the original printer price look like a decoy. That reaction is not irrational, but the usual explanation that every printer is simply sold at a loss is too neat. Different models, retailers, bundles, and promotions have different margins. The stronger explanation is about the shape of the relationship. The printer is the entry point. Once it sits on your desk, it creates demand for compatible supplies, replacement cycles, and sometimes a monthly plan. So the real question is not, why is this little cartridge expensive? It is, what business did you enter when you bought the cheap box? A printer sale happens once. Printing happens again and again. That difference turns a device into an installed base, a population of machines already inside homes and offices, each with a specific appetite for supplies. For the manufacturer, the revenue stack can include the hardware, the cartridges or bottles, service, software, and subscriptions. For the buyer, those charges arrive at different moments. The hardware price is obvious and comparable on day one. The future pages are uncertain, spread over months, and easy to ignore at checkout. This is the same logic behind many low-entry, repeat purchase systems. The first transaction reduces friction. The later transactions monetize use. But be precise. That does not prove every printer loses money at the register. It means the useful unit of analysis is the lifetime of the machine, not the receipt for the machine. The cheap box wins the placement. The supplies monetize the placement. This is where the sticker price starts to mislead. You do not buy ink to own a cartridge. You buy it to produce pages. So the basic comparison is cost per page, cartridge price divided by expected page yield. On HP's current product pages, the standard black HP 67 is listed at up to about 120 pages, while the high-yield 67 XL is listed at up to about 240. Those are standardized estimates, not promises for every household. Photos, heavy coverage, cleaning cycles, and long gaps between jobs can change real-world yield. Now use a simple illustrative number. If a cartridge costs $20 and yields 120 pages, the sticker math is about 16.7 cents per page. At 240 pages for $30, it is 12.5 cents. The exact shelf prices will change. The method does not. Cheap hardware hides the denominator. Smart buyers bring it back. There is also real engineering inside this system. Ink is not merely colored water poured into a shell. Formulations use dyes or pigments plus ingredients that control drying, flow, surface wetting, particle stability, and how the drop behaves on paper. The liquid has to sit for months, survive temperature changes, move through microscopic channels, and land consistently without clogging the nozzles. The cartridge design matters too. HP describes two broad architectures. In some printers, the printhead is integrated into the cartridge, so replacing the cartridge also replaces a precision component. In others, the printer contains a longer life printhead and the cartridge mainly supplies ink. Printers also spend some ink on startup, calibration, and printhead maintenance. That is frustrating when you see a level fall without a finished page. But the maintenance is part of keeping tiny nozzles reliable. Engineering explains some cost. It does not, by itself, explain the entire price. Product design and business design sit in the same cartridge. Then there is the chip. A modern cartridge can identify itself, communicate status, and store limited usage information. That can support ink-level estimates, quality control, security, and recycling programs. It can also become a gatekeeper. HP says certain printers use dynamic security to block cartridges that use non-HP chips or modified electronic circuitry. The company also says firmware updates can maintain that system's effectiveness, which means a cartridge that once worked may later be blocked. The important caveat is that this does not describe every printer or every third-party supply. Compatibility depends on the exact model, region, firmware, and cartridge design. HP also states that refilled or remanufactured cartridges reusing an original HP chip are not affected by that particular mechanism. So compatible is not one universal category. It is a technical relationship between a machine, a cartridge, a chip, and software that may change. The plastic holds ink. The chip helps define the market. Subscriptions change the unit again. Instead of buying a cartridge, the customer buys an allowance of pages. HP Instant Ink currently offers tiers from occasional printing to hundreds of pages per month, with additional pages sold in blocks. The company says plans can be changed or canceled, with timing rules around the end of a billing period. Notice what is being measured: pages, not milliliters. A page with one sentence and a page covered in color can count the same toward the allowance. That shifts the customer from managing inventory to managing a quota. In exchange, cartridges arrive automatically and the risk of running out can fall. For the company, recurring billing smooths demand and strengthens the link between the installed printer and future revenue. For the buyer, the value depends on consistency. A plan can be convenient when monthly volume is predictable. When printing is irregular, unused allowance, overage blocks, and cancellation details matter more than the headline price. The cartridge becomes a service meter. The financial statements reveal how large that recurring layer can become. In HP's fiscal year 2025, the printing segment reported about $16.7 billion in net revenue. Supplies accounted for about $10.9 billion of that total. That is roughly 65% of printing revenue from supplies, far more than consumer printer hardware, and also larger than HP's commercial printer hardware category. This is one company, not the entire industry, and revenue is not the same thing as profit. But it shows why installed machines, page volume, pricing, and supply compatibility matter so much. The printer is visible. The annuity is distributed across millions of future pages. This also explains the strategic tension. Manufacturers want a reliable, controlled system that protects quality and recurring revenue. Customers want low lifetime cost, freedom of supply, and a machine that still works on their terms. Both incentives meet at the cartridge bay. There are ways out of the trap, but each trades one cost for another. High-yield cartridges raise the purchase price while often lowering cost per page. Tank printers move more of the price into the hardware and replace small cartridges with high-capacity bottles. Epson's current EcoTank ET2800 page lists replacement yields of about 4,500 black pages and 7,500 color pages, a radically different denominator from a small cartridge. Laser printers can make sense for text-heavy use and long gaps between jobs. Third-party, refilled, or remanufactured supplies can reduce cost, but compatibility, print quality, warranty treatment for attributable damage, and firmware behavior must be checked for the exact model. The right answer depends on volume. If you print 10 pages a month, a low hardware price may dominate. If you print 500, the supply system can overwhelm the original purchase price. Do not shop for the cheapest printer. Estimate 3 years of pages. Add hardware, supplies, subscription fees, and likely waste. Then divide by the pages you expect to keep. Buy the output, not the box. Before you buy, ask 5 questions. What is the yield of the standard and high-capacity supply? What is the cost per black page and color page? Is the printhead in the cartridge or in the machine? Does the model use dynamic security or require an online account? And what happens to subscription cartridges if you cancel? That checklist turns a tempting shelf price into a total cost decision. The cheap printer was never the whole product. It was the doorway to a page economy built from chemistry, chips, forecasts, and recurring payments. This is the business beneath, the logic hiding behind the price. Next, why extended warranties are offered everywhere, and what the seller knows about your fear of failure.